On Track with Vanessa Womack, conversation with Briana Williams. Briana,
Hi.
I'm so glad to meet you in face-to-face.
Yeah.
And that's what these talks are about On Track with Vanessa Womack, to really hear voices, particularly millennial voices, the future. And I have this lovely young lady, Briana, who has a very exciting career in communications
And development.
And she also has a podcast. And she's going to talk about the podcast, but I also want her to delve into how does she make the most of social media. For someone like me, a boomer, I'm always trying to learn new stuff, and I think that we all can learn something. So, Briana, tell us about your career in communications and development and social media and Sweet Talks.
Okay, well, most of my background is in public relations and marketing, and just overall communication. So I've always worked with a lot of nonprofits in my past. So I found myself at YWCA Richmond, and so it's neat because now I work in development and communications, and development is again just another word for fundraising, and working with our many donors and just different affinity groups. So I really enjoy that because I get to pair communications, which we use across the board: social media, our website, whether it's mailing pieces that I get to design, our newsletter that goes out to thousands of people. So it's really neat that I get to touch that and get to create the content that goes out through that. And again, really rewarding to give back. Our mission is to empower women and eliminate racism. So two very, very strong topics that have been obviously trending recently in our just in the media in general. So I love to be able to have a role in that and a voice in that. And so that's mainly my career. Personally, I just recently launched Sweet Talks podcast, and that is a neat way for me to still do something that's passionate for me personally. I love desserts.
Ooh,
and yeah, and I think I've realized so many connections that I've made with so many awesome women entrepreneurs over the years, and I was like, I love sitting down and talking with them and just hearing their story and whatever kind of ideas that they have, or just what they've been through to get to where they're going. And so that always inspires me, and I feel like there's so many other people who could, really get something out of those conversations. So I decided to put those two together, and I'll say my slogan is, it's a podcast where you get a tasty bite into the mind of delectable women entrepreneurs of all flavors.
Wow.
So I know it's a very
trying to say that fast.
I know. But I really, really thought hard about that because I wanted to be diverse with it, but I also wanted to focus on women, diverse women of all backgrounds, and just to have good conversations with them. So I've had a great launch so far, and I'm really excited about where that will go in the future.
Well, this conversation feeds into what you're doing.
Sure.
Maybe I'll get on the podcast plug. But let's talk about being at the Y. And I know they have always done awesome things with for women and for the community at large. And they always have this recognition of women here in the area. I know that celebration is coming up soon. But what would you say has been some powerful moments working in communications development or working in that environment? What have been some powerful moments that have inspired you?
I would say just in general, hearing all of the stories. Working with any type of agency or nonprofit, you get to personalize it because you meet real people with real situations and real just life stories that you can connect with, and they're going through hard times. Or we work with cases of domestic violence and sexual assault. So just to hear women and children and families overcome situations like that, it's that personal touch that you get to connect with and realize that you're really helping to get those stories out to really help provide the services that they need to overcome whatever situation they're going through. So I would say that's probably something that has always been encouraging to, whether the work gets hard and gets difficult and tough, it's something that you can connect back with, and you want to continue to do the work.
And let's take this a little bit further, especially in the media now with the Me Too movement. You know, I mean, we all, I mean, I can say I probably have a story or two from my younger years, especially working in New York. But you know, that's a lot to overcome. But you work, or you know that there are families and women and children who are overcoming such challenging lives just on a daily basis. How do you use that to for your message to other young people you come in contact with? How do you do that?
Well, I will say that they're all stories of perseverance, and all stories of bad things happen to people of every age, whether you're male or female, whether you at any time in your life, different periods of your life. And it's just that story of how do you handle that situation when it comes about? What do you do in that situation to continue to press forward and move forward and know that you don't have to remain in that space? So I think that's the most important thing to realize. And again, is so encouraging when you hear about these stories, because they're not stories, hopefully they're stories that are encouraging and inspiring because the person overcame the situation and they're not remaining in that place of hurt and pain and hardship. So I would just say, overall, it's just an inspiration to kind of see that unfold and know that opportunity is there for change to happen.
Okay. Now, for what you do on social media with your podcast, tell us a little bit about why did you decide to do that? I know that's probably more of an extension of what you've been doing in your professional life and having an entrepreneur spirit. What made you decide, well, I'm going to do this and encourage others?
Yeah, again, it's like a personal passion to me. My background is in communication, so I've always had a camera in my hand, or wanted to edit video, or wanted to have like a mic or do something like that. Just growing up, even into college, high school and college, I was like editor-in-chief of my yearbook staff. I worked on the media squad at school, things like that. So I really enjoy doing that personally. I wouldn't say I'm the first person to want to jump in front of the camera for YWCA. Like, we have spokespeople for that. And that's a specific topic, and I'm not completely knowledgeable of everything in that world. I've only been with them for about 7 or 8 months now, but still there's so much to learn that you have to be ready to speak about that. But again, with my podcast, it's a fun outlet. I had my blog for about 5 years, and so I wanted to try something different, something new. And there's so many podcasts that I listen to that are inspirational and that I really kind of prefer to listen to over music sometimes. So it's just nice when you can hear stories or hear knowledge that other people are giving that you wouldn't get on a daily basis from listening to a talk show or watching reality TV or something like that. So, and social media is definitely just the way of the world right now. Honestly, it's one of the best ways you can communicate. It gets on people's nerves as much as it helps people to progress marketing whatever they want to market. Branding themselves, marketing a company, a podcast, a blog. There's so many bloggers out there making money from doing hair tutorials. I have a really good friend who is amazing at that, and she gets sponsorships. She doesn't pay for anything because the company sends her stuff just to post a picture or a video. And it's just a great way to market yourself. So I would definitely say to utilize it to your best extent. It's ever changing, so it can be hard to get into it and then continue with it, but it's something that consistency is key.
That's right.
So if you continue to post good content, then it'll happen for you in essence of like gaining followers and getting a bigger audience.
Well, that sounds exciting. And I want to get into it a little bit more in another conversation and hear some of the lessons learned and how many viewers do I have to get to make some money? I know, and especially when you're doing something like hair or promoting your own product. So, wish you more, even more success.
Thank you.
With your podcast. And it's like On Track with Vanessa Womack. I want to bring voices to talk about what you're doing. This is the future, and we want to hear more about it. So, thanks for being on track with Vanessa Womack.